Good evening, Demon Phil, Comics and More New Jersey, bringing you yet another interview tonight. And you know what? We're going to get to that here in just a moment because I have to give my full attention whenever I go ahead and announce all of this. But right now, I've actually got an announcement I need to make as well. But first, we're going to do what we're going to do every time. We're going to get as many people in here as possible. So anybody that is in here, if you'll let me know in the comments, you can actually hear me and see me. Sorry about your luck on seeing me, but I am here all night. If you will go ahead and share this out, let's see if we can get as many people in here as possible because this is going to be fun tonight. I know I've had a lot of fun on a lot of my interviews and all, but well, you'll find out whenever I announce who I have tonight. A lot of you have already seen the post on there, but we're really going to kick up the volume a little bit on this one. It may be my last show. I never know. So, hey, Giovanni, thank you for being here, and thank you for letting me know. You can actually see and hear me. Thank you. If you will share this out, let's let everybody know what's going on with this. We are on our YouTube and Facebook channels. So both of these are running consecutively. And we're just going to wait about another minute or so, try to get some more people in here and see what's going on. Hope everyone's having a great evening tonight and is staying safe. Wash your damn hands, all that kind of good stuff. And again, thank you, Giovanni, on that. About another minute, we'll get started on this. I have a couple of announcements that I need to make prior to bringing the guest out, but it kind of deals with the guest as well. So, an air of mystery. So, like I said, we're going to have some fun with this. But I am excited about the announcements as well. Very excited, actually. And as I am waiting, I am going through and trying to let other people know about this as well. Alfred, welcome to the party. Appreciate you being here, buddy. All right, so let me go ahead and make sure this is ready to go. It looks like we got a few more that are actually sharing on this as well as we speak. Thank you very much for doing that. All right, we're ready to kick this one off. So we're going to start off with my announcements on this. Number one, thank you for being here, of course, and thank you for taking your time to go ahead and see me again. For those of you who have not seen me on here on Facebook or YouTube for a little while here, you just haven't been looking very hard, I guess, because I've been on here a lot. I'm doing it to go ahead and try to bring out as much exposure for my guests whenever they're out here and all. My guest tonight, well, he's kind of an enigma on the exposure thing, but we'll go into that. So the announcements, let me go ahead and bring those up. We officially have sponsors for the show. Officially have sponsors for Comics and More New Jersey for the show that I do, and we'll be doing this on a regular basis twice a week, so as I'm not absolutely killing myself, and bringing as much talent as we can to the front here and have some fun with everybody, get some information out there, and just be able to do everything. So that being said, what I would like to say is that we have our first official sponsor is Sub-Zero Ministries. You will recall that I had an interview with Adam Fields, and we were talking about a certain comic book that he did where they actually go out and they help the homeless, especially the veterans, and go ahead and make sure that they're taken care of each and every season, winter season, that they're needing all this information and material and all. They go out there with coats, with boots, with hats, with socks. I mean, there's everything, gloves. And it's all brand new material they take out there. So I will really be pushing on their books and everything while I'm on here with my live book sales. You'll see a lot more of those. I have a few of them that I have that I'll be doing as giveaways, but we will be selling them via their link. So that's them. The next one that we have up here is Third Empire. Third Empire is the banner, which is by Greg Harms, is the main one that is in there that kind of runs that, but it is 4 companies that are underneath the banner, and they have various books that'll be coming out over the next year. We're probably looking at about a good 13 titles that'll be coming out. So they are coming out of the woodwork hard on this. So definitely looking forward to working with them and showing off what they can do. I want to go ahead and bring up that our third one, and you're going to be happy to know this if you are in the comments, and I thought I saw you in here, Russell. Pantsless Pizza is now going to be sponsoring Comics and More New Jersey. So thank you, Pantsless Pizza, whoever you are, be sponsoring Comics and More New Jersey. So we have that official sponsor. And that leads us up to our final sponsor on this one. And I may have more coming up, which is good, great, and wonderful, but I'm just knocking in the ones that I do have. My final sponsor is known by the name of Totally Rad. You may have heard of some of their stuff, possibly. Something to do with 80s material. I want to say it's got something to do with a circus, with a tiger. No, with a ringleader. No, with a clown. That's what it is. A whole bunch of clowns. That's the ass. That's what it is. See, the memory goes as you get older. So that being said, I have Jim Noble here from Totally Rad that's joining me tonight. We're going to be talking some clowns, some vampires, some crowdfunding, some pantsless, and all kinds of fun stuff. So let's go ahead and bring him out here. Here is Jim.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
What's up, Jim? Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that there's people who are excited to be here. And yeah, I want to give a shout out to, I'm already going to give a shout out to two people, Giovanni and Alfred, for being the first to get on here and share. Also, Phil, thank you for that lovely introduction. Actually, that's news to me that Totally Rad is going to be a sponsor. I love it.
Well, we'll have you talk to you have a boss in Totally Rad, right, that you talk to that you have to answer to or whatever. You just have to find out. I talked to them about it.
Yeah, it's another one of my personalities, so we'll talk.
Now, first off, I'm going to go ahead and go straight to the audience on this one because immediately it is nothing but clowns. Thank you, Eve.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And then, of course, here's good old Russell. Woohoo! Welcome to the Pantsless Fun House. He has got the taglines like I wouldn't believe.
I'm wearing my shorts today, so yes, I am pantsless. I came prepared.
I am the same way as well. Ha ha ha. So we have Eve going in and throwing some more clowns up there because I think there's something to do with clowns on this particular interview. I can't remember. I have to look at my notes here later.
Yeah, I think I have a title that has clowns.
Something like that, yeah. And she yells out, Jim, with a bunch of clowns. Duct tape will do that to you, I guess, if you yell it too much. I don't know.
Yeah.
Apparently, Russell is suffering from the same thing. Jim, the pantsless noble.
That is one thing. A lot of people ask, is that last name? Is your name a pen name? It is not a pen name. It is my real name. My last name is, in fact, Noble. So you can imagine all the jokes I got when I was a kid of, oh, you're not very noble. Oh, are you noble? So, yes, I am. But
now I will say that we're going to go ahead and start this off that for anybody who's in here or anybody who can be watching later or anything, if they don't know who you are, I don't know how that can be exactly, but we're going to go ahead and go with, if they don't, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and how to find you?
So my name is Jimmy Noble. And for those of you wondering, why don't you just spell it out Jimmy? My full name is James Earl Noble. My dad named me after the voice of Darth Vader. So that's why I go by Jim E. Noble and not James Earl. So I am the creator and writer for Totally Rad Comics. As you know, I do, or you may not know, I do 80s books such as Totally Rad Life of Violet and the Totally Rad Comics Presents. And I've also done not a children's book, an all ages story called Strange Cosmic Tales. I need to specify that. It's not specifically for children, especially that hard.
We'll get into that here in just a moment, yes.
And I am also a writer for Cherry Comics. You'll find my first story for Cherry Comics in Cherry Comics number 24, which is coming soon from Larry Wells, and I'm very excited about that. You'll also find Totally Rad crossover covers. Upcoming, actually, the one that's coming soon is on May 6th for Vampires of New Jersey.
Yeah, so very much so.
For those of you who are a fan of Violet, my recovering drug addict who loves to have a good time but also takes down drug dealers, she gets to be on a cover with some sexy vampires.
Absolutely. You definitely nailed it with that cover for certain.
Yeah.
And that was actually, if you saw it whenever you were coming in, it was actually on the post before you knew about this coming up. So that is the Vampires of New Jersey cover, and that is the nice one. As I put in the post on there, Suds sold separately. So there is actually a secondary cover that's going to be available on May 6th that I will not show on Facebook.
I would gladly show it. However, I don't want to get banned, and I got too many covers that I can't show already. So if you want to just private message me, I have all sorts of fun I could show you. Comics, not yeah.
Yeah, we need to explain what exposure is, because Jim gets excited whenever he hears exposure. It's
I get,
the comics.
It's high, exposure. Well then, that's an exposure over the next.
For those of you who are not aware, Jim and I are friends. We've actually become friends from just dealing with things that are on the line and everything. We've never actually physically met as of yet. Whenever that happens, it's probably the final seal that needs to be broken before the end of the world. I'm pretty sure that's something to do with it in there. But we've been having a blast with this, and we have been on pins and needles waiting for this show to come up. I mean, it's been since last week saying, is it Monday yet? Is it Monday yet? Is it Monday yet? It has been interesting. I will put it that way. Now, on top of that, because I am a fan of Totally Rad myself, and Jim knows this very well, and he has sent me some great stuff. I've done Kickstarters, so I've gotten some great stuff off of that. There's been all kinds of things. So I went through my stash of stuff that I could go ahead and go on there, and I was like, okay, what can I put on the show that I can show that I'm actually a fan? I mean, how many can I show on that? So I came up with that big of a stack, because that's all I can show on Facebook.
Yeah, his stack was literally, this long, but of all the covers I have, only that much can be shown here.
Hey, you told me size doesn't matter. Oh, damn, I threw it out there. Oh, we're already starting. I swear, I'm not drinking. Not yet. I can, but I haven't started yet.
I'm 2 steps ahead of you, so. This one's for you.
All right. Before we kick directly into the whole Totally Rad thing, I want to actually go into the all ages book that you've got, The Strange Cosmic Tales.
Excellent.
And I actually have.
Oh, you have a copy. Okay, so all right, I'll just drop mine.
So there's that right there. I have a picture that's ready to come up, but it's better to just go ahead and show you what I got, because it's got the really cool signature on there and all.
Yeah. Yes, that is
if you can go ahead and tell us
cover.
Yes, exactly. Can you go ahead and tell us about that story and how you basically switched complete gears and going from you normally doing Totally Rad to doing this?
Well, a couple of months ago, a good friend of mine, Cody Lockwood, shout out to Lockwood's Loot, who is a proud sponsor of Totally Rad Comics. He reached out to me and he said, hey, I need a convention exclusive for the upcoming, this is now, mind you, this is before the coronavirus and before all the cons were canceled. So this was for the upcoming Gem City Comic Con. And I said, well, I have tons of Totally Rad books that you could do for a convention exclusive. However, all my books are adult. So I'm pretty sure they don't want to be selling adult books at their show. As you know, children go to those shows. So it can be a little difficult trying to get your books out there. I said, I'll tell you what, how about I write an entirely new story, and I'll get Alfred Lay, who does all the artwork for Totally Rad Comics. He'll do this story, and he'll do the art, I'll write the story, and we'll release it at the Gem City Comic Con. And he goes, that's wonderful. And he goes, William Stout, who you may know, he's a famous illustrator. For me, I'm a big fan of Indiana Jones. He did the storyboard artwork for the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, he had a cover that was ready to go for a comic that I had not even written yet. So basically, I wrote the entire story based off the cover art for this book. Unfortunately, because the show was canceled, we haven't used that cover as the cover. I had Alfred do his own cover featuring our Totally Rad babe who was in the story. Now, I will tell you, it was a little bit difficult writing a all-ages story and not having the woman take off her clothes, because normally that's how my books start. Usually it starts out with some type of nudity, something to catch your eye. You open that, you see that wonderful cover, you open it, first page. I need something that's going to be like, I want to see what happens next. Or better yet, where is this going to go? It's already at the best part. How could it get any better? Well, my stories are notoriously known to get better as you read them, especially the centerfolds, pun intended. Now, So I'm a huge fan of science fiction, and I love the classic 50s and 60s EC stuff. The science fiction, the weird science. Not to be confused with the movie. Weird Science was a comic book back in the day. Yeah, that's where they got the name from for the movie. So it has nothing to do with John Hughes. Although I do love John Hughes, but we'll get into that later. So I decided, well, let's make it all black and white. Science fiction, give it a throwback, and it's basically my love letter to Wally Wood, And also I got to give Cody credit for, giving me the idea for it, because he was showing me all the Wally Wood stuff, and I was like, for the longest time I loved his art. I just really didn't know Wally Wood that much, but after seeing his art, I was like, I could write a story, similar to this, around this. And for those of that have read that book, I'm telling you, they love it. They want more. I originally wrote it as a one-shot because it was supposed to be just for a convention for one time only. But we are doing a issue 2 that won't be coming soon, unfortunately, because of our schedule for Totally Rad Comics. We have a lot of other books to promote. But there will be an issue 2. Originally, I wrote my character to be vaporized at the end, but I had to change that. And you'll see.
Just to kind of show, this is some of the artwork that's inside of the Strange Cosmic Tales, the one that is the all ages book. So, I mean, it is gorgeous artwork that is in there.
Yes, Alfred did
some of that that's on there. So it's very well done.
I invest in nothing but the best for Totally Rad Comics.
Oh, absolutely. And you can tell, I mean, sometimes whenever you switch gears and you change up to something else, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general, sometimes the feel of the comic and the extra attention to the detail and everything kind of gets lost, because you're like, it's not really my baby, it's my stepchild, so I'm not going to do as much with it. But you actually took your stepchild and did very well with that. So
it's my stepchild that I can't see naked.
Now, I will say right now, everybody that's on the show, if you will get something to drink, and every time the word naked is brought up or clown, you have to take a drink, I want to see if anybody's alive after we're done.
I don't recommend taking shots. Because after 10 minutes, you'll be blacked out.
Now, so we've gone with yeah, Eve is loving this. She well, first of all, she said that it was gorgeous as far as the artwork which is in there, which is absolutely true. And then, of course, after we keep going with this, we got this on here.
I don't mean to be nothing but laughs, but I've been talking to Phil for over a week. Literally, we've been like schoolgirls talking on the phone for hours and hours at a time, talking about this day. So I'm very excited to be here. I'll tell you that.
I mean, every once in a while, he and I will kind of bust out going, okay, we need to do some business on this. So we're actually talking about some business matters. And then there have been times whenever we'll go to get off of a Facebook call or a phone call and be like, how long have we been on here? 4 hours and 27 minutes. Are you serious?
It's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm on Central Time, so it's 2 o'clock there.
You got to love what you do, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you can't love what you do, then why do you do it?
Exactly. Now go ahead and tell us, how did you get your start into comics?
Well, that is a very good question, because it's a little askew from how. No, but I guess there really isn't a normal way of how you get into comics. But so the way I really got into comic books, for those of you who don't know, I have a day job. Well, I mean, I'm furloughed right now, but I do have a day job as of right now. And I am a professional comic book grader for CBCS, Comic Book Certification Service. And I've been doing that for 5 years. I got the job, I basically got hired over the phone just because of my love for comic books. I was a huge collector, I still am. I'm really into comics. And I'm the modern variant expert. So anything after 1975, I can pretty much tell you anything about. I can tell you how many pages are in it. I can tell you who did the cover, who did the art. Unfortunately, I have that Rain Man brain where I just remember all this stuff. I never knew that I'd be getting paid for it, but here I am 5 years later, and I'm still there, furloughed. And but about a year ago, after you spend 4 years seeing comic books come in to get graded, and you see all these covers of these beautiful women, beautiful art, and you look inside the books and you're like, wait a minute, where's all the pretty ladies? Where's all the art? Where's all the pretty lady art? The cover lied. There's no naked ladies in here. This is $100 for this, and they're sending it for grading. Oh my goodness, I need to write a comic book that not only has pretty ladies on the cover, but also pretty ladies on the inside, and maybe I'll throw in a meaningful message. For those of you who don't know, my first book, the main series, The Totally Rad Life of Violet, she's a recovering drug addict, and it's kind of a, I'm not shoving it down your throat. It's a PSA against drugs per se, but she just happens to be naked, so it's eye appealing. So last year I did my first issue for Totally Rad Life of Violet, and I didn't have any. Again, I'm a comic book grader. I don't know any artists, any writers. I didn't have any connection to the comic book industry really. I was just, I'm just a guy who grades comic books. What do I know? And within a week after launching my first issue, I didn't do Kickstarter for issue number 1 just because I wanted to test it out how I would do. I printed up 125 copies of the regular cover and the topless cover, and I sold my sets, and I sold out within a week, which I wasn't expecting. I think the reason why they sold was maybe because it was something new and exciting, but also I think, there's a saying, sex sells, and I can tell you it really does. So that's how my first issue, that's really what got me into comics, because after my first issue, I was like, well, I guess I better do an issue 2. And that's when I decided, well, why don't I do a Kickstarter? Let me try Kickstarter out. Again, at this time, I still don't know any other artists. I don't know any other writers. I really don't know much about the indie comic world at this time. This is August of 2019. I knew a couple people. A good friend of mine, Giovanni, he added me right after my first issue came out, and he gave me a lot of support. And I've supported him as well by letting him introduce his character Neon into the Totally Rad Comics family. And we have a lot coming out with Neon this upcoming year. But back to the Kickstarter. So for issue 2 of Totally Rad Life of Violet, I launched it. My goal was $800. Look, I pay for all my artwork up front. I had some artists, I had at the time it was Steph Wilson did a cover, Trevor Grace did a cover, as well as Alfred Lay, who's the main series artist. Of course, he's going to do covers. And I had a couple other people. I had Ali Garza, I had Alfred, and Karen Nicole, who colored the Alfred's cover. And then I also had a cover set by Jose Variz, and a couple other artists that I paid. Again, I paid for it up front. So my goal wasn't really how much I spent. I was just like, well, let's see what happens. So $800 within 8 hours of launching a Kickstarter, I got funded. Which, being a guy who literally doesn't know anybody, doesn't know like how to promote. At the time, I didn't know anything about promoting on Facebook. I didn't know about any of these independent comic book groups. I didn't know anything about that. To be funded in 8 hours, it's kind of a mind-blowing experience. At the end of it, on a goal of $800, I made $8,091. And I immediately, of course, the printing and shipping cost, I immediately took all that profit and put it into my next book, and which was the first appearance of Neon, which is Giovanni's story. And it's also the first appearance of a fan favorite who everyone has come to know and love, Roxy Feelgood, my sexy clown. And, on the last Kickstarter that we did on a goal of $1,000, their first appearance, we made over $9,437. And then that's also one of our stretch goals was pages added into the story, because I decided I didn't want to do just, the generic stickers, pins, buttons, coins. I wanted to give something more. So I just said, why not give more art? How about another fun, totally rad story? Originally titled Topless Babe from Outer Space, I decided I'll keep the topless part in the story, but I'll change the title to Totally Rad Babes from Outer Space, as opposed to Topless Babes, but they're still topless, I promise. And so I added that in there, and I also I added had we made it to 11,000, everyone would have gotten a free comic book. And unfortunately, we didn't make that, but that book will be coming out one of these days. I haven't decided when, but it's also a fun story. The artwork's already done, and I already written the story for it. But I think people will really like it. But right now, I'm just focusing on for those that read Totally Rad Life of Violet number 2, I left a cliffhanger ending in it, and apparently people really want another issue after that. They don't want you to do other books. They want you to do issue 3 right away. So to tease the audience, I did a different story And now I'm finally getting to the Totally Rad Life of Violet #3, which is coming out June 16th on Kickstarter, and that is actually my my birthday of all days, and it coincides with the 1 year anniversary of Totally Rad Comics. So issue 3 is coming, and I know people are really excited for it because they want to know what happens next to Violet. I won't spoil the story, but I will tell you it does take place in a mental ward, and mind you, of course, Totally Rad. It's in the 80s, so you can only imagine the fun that she's going to have.
Absolutely. Now, for everyone that's in here and be watching this later on or whatever, you've seen Jim in my other interviews in the audience over there, and usually it has one question that always comes up every single time to whoever's up here at the time, and it's usually that one question, which is, how do you feel about sexy clowns? And it's funny because it gets interaction from that, and you don't miss a beat on that. I haven't seen you not one time where you haven't asked an iteration of that question to just about anybody that's out there. Whenever we met Eve the first time, that was the first thing I think that you had said to her was, how do you feel about sexy clowns?
Yes. And also to give her a shout out, she is actually drawing a sexy clown for me, and it's actually going to be her first published cover, which I'm super excited about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, before we go ahead and switch total gears into this, I want to go ahead and let everybody know that we're doing this show right now, which will be on Facebook and YouTube, which is showing. Whenever we do end this, I will have a second show Jim and I will be going to on YouTube only, which will be more of a unscripted version, shall we say. So we can talk a little more openly, can show a few more covers, that kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, definitely let me know, and I will get you the link for that. Now, go ahead and move on from now. Let's go ahead and talk clown, shall we?
Oh boy, that's my favorite topic.
So you and I have talked like a ton about all of this stuff, and I don't want to go over things that I necessarily know and it's just over and done with. I want other people to know some of what's going on in your brain, because I'm having to have therapy, so therefore you should as well, everybody that's watching this. So we've already been through the fact that pretty much 24/7 you're hearing nothing but the clown, circus music going through your head with everything that you do.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
There is that.
Yeah.
Now, I've got to ask the question, why clowns? I mean, I know sex sells and everything, but why clowns?
For me, it's not just a fun thing. It's also a personal goal, due to the fact that when I was 17 years old, actually, let me rewind that a bit. When I was 15 years old, I got kicked out of high school my freshman year on April Fool's Day. Best joke I could ever pull on my mom. Still can't top it to this day. Thought it was hilarious. I wanted to be a clown. I almost got into the circus. I could walk on stilts and I could play the accordion at the same time, mind you, but I can't juggle. And because of that, I didn't get in the circus, and I decided to join the United States Navy and be a submariner. So, but I've always loved clowns, but one thing I never really, I do love horror movies, and I do love scary clowns. They're fun and exciting. You got the Pennywise from It, you got the American Horror Story clowns, you got, the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is the greatest movie of all time. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that movie. Now, and you got as far as sexy clowns goes, you really only have Harley Quinn from DC Comics. And you could really only do so much of Harley Quinn. You can't put Harley Quinn in a sexual position and do all sorts of fun things with her sexually, in a good nature, mind you, not like bad, rape type stuff, but fun stuff. And that's when I decided, well, why don't I create a fun, totally rad clown that not only she is a clown, but in the universe that the Totally Rad Life of Violet takes in, Roxy Feelgood is the #1 movie star. She's, she lives in a clown universe where clowns are treated like rock stars. Instead of in this, granted, there's a lot of 80s stuff that does happen in my books, but in this universe, there's not Planet of the Apes. There's Planet of the Clowns. There's Beneath Planet of the Clowns. There's Conquest for Planet of the Clowns. There's Escape from Planet of the Clowns. Roxy Feelgood is the star. She is Lethal Clown. She is Die Clown. or Clown Hard, if you will. So instead of Bruce Willis in Die Hard, you get Roxy Feelgood in Clown Hard, which can be taken many ways, I know, and I did that on purpose. So, and I'm tired of the stigma of clowns are scary. Everyone's afraid of clowns. I want to turn your fears into fantasies. I want to make it to be, when people search, clown art, and like the first thing that comes up is Roxy Feelgood. I have her on my banner. I have her with the rainbow bow, because everyone loves the rainbow. It is the most wonderful, colorful thing you could possibly put on a clown. So why not have it on a sexy clown?
So I can show, I believe I've got one of the covers here.
Yes, that is a cover by Trevor Grace. And for those of you who can't read what's on her underwear, it says "Come one, come all." So if you buy that cover, you'll see that on her underwear there.
So I mean, yeah, and she's an entirely fun character. She's a very free-spirited character. I use that term very loosely. I will say right off the bat, I will not be opening up any of these books to show on this segment of it by any means. Even the covers that I can show on here, I'm just letting you know, because I'm trying to keep this. We won't use the term family friendly, because then I'll have that and then they'll think that I have no idea what I'm doing. But we're just going to say safe. Because it even says on the description of the video, I don't think you saw it, Jim, but it actually says no. Jim Noble's safe interview.
Oh yes,
and there is the Steph Wilson.
Steph Wilson. And for those of you who don't know who Steph Wilson is, I don't know how you don't know who he is at this point. He literally promotes on Facebook every single day. If you haven't seen a Steph Wilson cover, let me tell you, Totally Rad has at least 12 different Steph Wilson covers. So you had to have at least seen him at some point in time, not just from me, but he's done covers for just about almost every independent comic book that I've seen come out just through Kickstarter.
Now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do a shameless plug right now, because it's my show and I love doing this kind of stuff, and especially because Wednesday is coming up. So we're going to go ahead and talk some vampires a little bit. So you've got a cover on there, and you have got Wanda, which is one of the head vampires on there, the female vampire. And then you have got Violet that is in the shower, and she is surprised by Wanda going ahead and opening up the shower curtain, and there she is. And the cover that you have seen is the one with studs on there. There is a secondary cover which will be studless. I think I said that right.
Oh, yeah.
I have to be very cautious in what I say whenever it comes to the Totally Rad stuff.
Well, at this point, people know what to expect from Totally Rad. There's going to be a nude cover.
Exactly. But I mean, in bringing you into this, whenever I first brought you onto the project, and whenever I got you to meet up with Al and everything, and we were kind of going through what can you do for this? I just want to go ahead and bring up that whenever Vampires in New Jersey is not an adult book. I mean, by any means, it doesn't have anything like that in there or anything. So whenever I introduced Jim to Alton Simpson, Alton immediately said, well, what do you do? And of course, Jim's immediate response, as normal, how do you feel about sexy clowns? And I see this in the group chat that we're in, and I'm just kind of like, this is either going to go really well or really bad. So he said, send me some of your work and we'll go from there. And he came back and said that he absolutely loved it, and let's go ahead and do a crossover cover on here. And here we go, thinking about a cover, and came up with Bloodbath is the name of it. And it is amazing. I mean, it came out really well, and we love having you on the team with vampires and everything. We've got an amazing group that was put together on there to work on Alton's work on there with you, with Steph, with Wendy, who I believe she's still in here. Wendy Steenshaner is on there, CB Zane, and then we've got Chris Mad. And am I missing somebody on that one? Nope. That should be it. Oh, Kara. Yeah, because we mentioned her earlier. Yeah. So Kara and Alfred. Because technically now it is Kara and Alfred, because I just released a cover reveal yesterday for their other one that they have, which is Alfred's work and Kara's colors, and it is pretty phenomenal as well. So definitely appreciate you being on the team for that. And I'm going to go ahead and put, just so everybody has this, that down there at the bottom that's going, and it is in the description, so you can go back to that. That is where you go ahead and click on for the Kickstarter. It is not live until Wednesday evening, but if you click on that Kickstarter, hit that remind me button on there, you'll be reminded whenever it comes up and know all the good stuff that we got going on. What you see in there as soon as it launches is not going to be everything that's there. We hold some surprises on that one.
Oh boy, I love surprises.
Oh, we're going to have some serious surprises. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into, we're going back into the clowns because, you know, why not? Clowns are fun.
Yeah.
So what's next? I mean, what do you have going on? I know June 16th, you have your other one coming out, but I know you've got some other things, and I see you already cracking your knuckles and getting ready for this one. So there you go.
Well, as you know, and for those of you who aren't friends with me on Facebook, today is May the 4th. And May the 4th is a special day for anyone who's a fan of a science fiction film that came out back in 1977 called The Star Wars. So Totally Rad Comics decided, hey, everyone's doing May the 4th covers. Why don't we do a May the 4th story and also feature covers? So because my comic books take place in the 1980s, I decided I'm going to come up with an original idea where it is taking place during the release of Empire Strikes Back, which came out in 1980. And mind you, this year is the 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. So it revolves around Violet, and not to spoil too much of the story, but, you know, she has a hallucination of sorts because during this time in the Totally Rad Life of Violet storyline, she's still a drug user. So she has a little hallucination, and Roxy Feelgood shows up, but not as the clown that you know and love. She shows up as a Obi-Wan Kenobi type character. So using all the Totally Rad babes, I created a original story, and it's a fun story that I think everyone who, even if you're not a Star Wars fan or a sexy clown fan, you're gonna love it. It's fun, it's exciting. It's not what you expect for a independent comic creator who's only been around for less than a year to do. And not only that, you know, the fun doesn't stop there. I'm always working on stuff, and one very special thing for me that I decided to do during this time because of the coronavirus time that we're in, I'm also revealing a charity cover that I did for the Fisher House, which is a charity that helps military families. And the cover is by Steph Wilson, and all profits for this book will be going on sale Thursday night. All profits for this book will be going to the Fisher House minus the printing and shipping. It is very near and dear to my heart. Everyone in my family every male in my family has served in the military, including myself. And that is why Violet on the cover is a sailor, because, you know, I was in the Navy, and it was very fitting to have her as a sailor. And also, if you guys follow Forbidden Ink Comics, they have another Steph Wilson cover that they're donating a percentage of their sales to the Fisher House as well with Totally Rad Comics. And this is the first reveal of this cover tonight, exclusively on Comics New Jersey and more. And I hope you guys like it, and I hope you guys come out Thursday and get a copy or two.
And that is the picture of it that's on the screen right now, so everybody can see what it's going to look like with that. So it is, I mean, it's gorgeous the way that it looks, and I like the fact that it is going to the charity with the military in mind. So that is great. Yeah, this thing is definitely going to fly off the digital shelves, shall we say, or the online shelves. So it's definitely going to be a good one with that, because it's a good cause that's on there, and of course, you know, Steph Wilson art just never is a bad thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everyone loves Steph Wilson.
So we have that. Now I think I have a couple of other Star Wars ones, if I'm not mistaken, on here. Let me see if I can go back to them.
I believe you do.
Let me see. We have other ones we'll show you on here as well. These were actually marked safe for me to go through, so you'll just have to excuse me. They're not in any given order, but at least they're not ones that I'm sitting here going, oh my God, cover your eyes. So we have this one from Steph Wilson, which is the Leia homage being in the trash pit. So this cover, I will tell you, whenever I first saw this one, Steph Wilson, of course, the distinguishable art gets your attention, but I started looking at all of the backdrop stuff in the trash. It is amazing what all you find in here. It's hilarious what all he put in there. I mean, new Diet Coke or something like that. New Coke.
New Coke, yeah. All
I mean,
80s references.
yeah, exactly. I mean, there's all kinds of the Betamax that's in there. I mean, there's so much stuff, and I don't know. I want to know whose photo that is back there in the back. I wonder if that is, in fact, Steph back whenever he was in high school or something, maybe. We need to
I know
find that
what
one
it is,
out.
but I won't tell you.
Okay. So I still need to figure that one out. So
Yeah.
there is that Star Wars, and I believe that's the only Star Wars that I had.
You just passed one, the Sean Forney cover. Go 3 back. There we
There
go.
we go. Okay.
That
There's
is
a lot
a
to look
Sean
at
Forney
throughout all
cover.
these.
Yeah. And that
And
is
you'll
also,
notice it's interesting because the lightsabers are always violet.
well, I mean, Violet would be
For
having
her,
a
yes.
Violet lightsaber. It would make perfect sense.
Oh, absolutely. But there is that. And then let's go ahead and talk about some of these other covers we got on here while I've got you on this part. Of course,
Absolutely.
that one kind of speaks for itself.
So wait, no, don't skip that one yet. That is so for those of you who don't know, Trevor Grace is a very good friend of mine. He's actually one of my best friends. He's done quite a few covers for Totally Rad Comics. And, he works in a hospital. And during this time, it's been pretty tough for him and his family. And I told him, I said, you've done enough covers. You could do a cover gallery for Totally Rad Comics just on the covers that you've done for us alone. So in this is the Trevor Grace year 1 cover gallery. Now, in this book, it has every single Totally Rad cover that he's done, but also concept sketches for covers that never happened and some upcoming covers. All the profits for this book will be going to Trevor Grace and his family. So if you guys are interested in buy that book, that is all going to Trevor Grace.
Excellent. All right. Now, the next one we got here, of course, that's Doxia, correct?
Yes, Daxina. So she
Doxina.
is a newly found Totally Rad artist that I got connected with in February of this year. Since February, she's done over 15 Totally Rad Comics covers. She is an amazing artist. Me and her talk. She lives in Lilyhammer. She doesn't live in the United States. And she also is having a tough time during the virus. And I can only imagine what it's like, where she's at. So I said, the same thing I said of Trevor. I said, you've done enough covers for Totally Rad, and she's only done 15 covers in 2 months. I can only imagine what it'll be like in a year. I said, let's do a cover gallery. And once again, all the profits for this book go to her and her family.
And then we have got a large, looks like a wraparound cover.
So this is actually a connecting cover set. So it's 2 separate covers. It is a Totally Rad Comics 1-year anniversary set. On the right, you have the 3 main Totally Rad babes. You got Violet, of course, Neon, our 80s slasher, and Roxy Feelgood. And on the left, you have the Totally Rad babes from outer space at the bottom. And on top, you have the unnamed character from the Strange Cosmic Tales. And next to her is the lesser-known sexy clown, Trix, who is Roxy Feelgood's assistant. Now, that will be colored, and that will be available at the end of this month for our 1-year anniversary.
Nice. And so that way you'll be able to get 2 separate books on there, but the cover.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Now, this one, okay, I'm going to go ahead and say right now, Jim has this habit of he won't message me with words. He'll just send a picture. And usually it comes across at the most inopportune time, which is why I cannot give him my schedule of when I'm doing interviews, because there have been a couple of interviews that you may have seen me totally trip up on something or try to figure out what's going on, because I've learned to turn off my messages while I'm on there because of Jim. And this is one of them that I remember coming through, and it was the other alternate version, shall we say. And this is the finished version that's the safe one on here. And then there's another version that he sent to me, and just no words on there, just popped it straight up. And yeah, it kind of tripped me up a little bit, but yeah, that's I like that cover, the Terminator cover, and going back on that, because it's always dealing with something in the 80s era, and you're good about keeping with that and doing something to have it match up. And eventually I think you're going to run out of ideas on that, but you've got an entire an entire 80s thing to go with here, so I don't think you're going to run out of too much.
Oh, yeah. And, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. And sometimes I just can't express the words I want to tell you. So I just show you my lovely art.
We'll go with that, yes. Now, there is the cherry piece that we showed earlier, and that will be released again on Thursday, I believe you said, correct?
Yes, Thursday night.
Okay, so Thursday night that'll be available to purchase. So definitely go ahead and make plans to get that one because the proceeds will be going to the military on that. Oh, and here we have the not so safe Leia. I forgot that one was in there. At least it's covered up, thank goodness. Not that it bothers me. I just want to make sure I actually have a show after this.
Hey, it's censored for your viewing pleasure. And for those of you, not to skip over this cover, if you look at this cover and you look at the clothed cover, you will notice in the background it is not the same image
Right.
that you pointed out. It is a
Right.
entirely different thing. So you just have to buy the nude. And I'll tell you what, for those of you who buy this cover and you get these covers and you look at them, if you could tell me every reference that are in these covers, I will give you a special, totally rad comic that no one else will have. Because so far no one's been able to. Yeah, because so far no one's been able to tell me everything on both those covers.
All right. All right. So that is all the ones that I can show on there, because there's that. So that's the different covers that we can show on this particular part of the show on here. On the YouTube one, we'll be able to show a few more. I can show a little more of my collection, which is going to be kind of fun. So this is what you're going with. This is what you have in the future for this. But do you have any more plans? Like I know you're doing the Strange Tales. I think you said you had Strange Tales 2 that you're looking into doing.
Yep.
So there is definitely that. So there's that to look forward to as well. And then of course, Roxy Feelgood and the rest of the crew are not going anywhere except for doing a lot more books.
Yes.
Jim and I talk quite often, and like I said, there are ideas, and it gets to the point where he's like, "I've got to write this down. This is some of the best stuff," because it'll just start hitting us, and he's all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, I've got to write. This has got to happen." There may even be some cameos of a certain pizza place eventually, maybe, kind of, sort of.
Yep. Oh yeah. So there is a couple things that are upcoming, and I do want to mention, going back to the Vampires of New Jersey Kickstarter, majority of those cover artists and that team will be on my Kickstarter as well, because you got Wendy, Kara, Alfred, Steph, CB, Chris Mad, and Phil. You'll be giving me some totally rad dog tags to sell on the Kickstarter as well.
Yes, absolutely. The double-sided dog tags that we do in our company, he has agreed that we're going to actually have those. We don't know how, if we're going to do it a tier or if we're going to do it a stretch goal. It's run by clowns, so you never know what's going to happen in all of this. In fact, you know what? I'm feeling kind of froggy. Jim and I talked about this briefly before we come on here. Jim said he may have a couple of things. We're going to play a game because we're going to start something new on the show, and we're going to start it right now. I'm going to choose something very quickly. Give me just a moment to go on here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to make it easy. All right. I say I'm going to make this easy. Here we go. Here's what, the link is attached onto here, right up there where you're watching, Facebook or YouTube. It's right there that you can get to your certain links that are up there. Before I go ahead and say go, I want to make sure I'm clarified on this. What I want to do is we're going to give away something. What can we give away, Jim?
Well, we could give away something totally rad. I have a very special, this is from last Halloween that it mostly sold out, mostly because obviously I have a copy here in my hand. This is the Halloween cover A for the Totally Rad Life of Violet #2. And, as you can see, it has some, it's hard to see with the glare, but it has some fun zombies in there. And, of course, it has Violet. So I think that would be a fun giveaway.
Absolutely.
And also,
do you have some stickers or something you could possibly throw in there?
Yeah, I have the Hollow Foil Steph Wilson Totally Rad Comics sticker. And also, for those of you who really like this image, I also have these wonderful T-shirts that are available to purchase that also feature the Totally Rad Comics Steph Wilson art. So, and we have every size you could possibly imagine. It's print on demand. I can make it happen. I'm like the Willy Wonka of adult comic books. Anything you want, anything you could possibly dream, I can make happen.
All right. So for clarification, we are doing the book and the stickers, what we'll do for the giveaway for right now, correct?
Yes, the book and the sticker.
All right, that is what is up right now. So here we go. What we're going to play is called, it's a version of Simon Says. It is called Demon Says because, you know, it's my show. I like this. So whenever I say Demon Says and what I tell you to do, that's what I need to happen on that. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go do something where it's going to be illegal and you have to get a mugshot. I mean, Jim would have to give away a lot more than that. And I think if we're actually doing mugshot, he can come up with like a box of stuff because this is going to be fun to watch.
Oh yeah, well, I thought you were going to ask me for some mugshots because I got some of those too. But
All right, so here's what we're going to do. Demon Says, go ahead and go to that Kickstarter link for Vampires New Jersey and go ahead and share it on a Facebook post. First person who I see that shares that with my name tagged on there, they will get it. Demon Says, go.
Now everyone in the comments are like, I don't want to leave this live chat.
I know there's probably like a good 30-second delay, so I'm waiting for this.
Well, I love it. I love it. It's like the 10-second delay for TV, but longer.
Somebody over here. Nope, that's another post that was on there. They just liked it, so that's not even in here. So again, you are going to the Kickstarter for Vampires New Jersey, and you want to go ahead and click on that link that I put on there. Go into that. It is right there at the top. If you go ahead and click on the top of the Facebook, it is right there. As soon as you click on See More, you will see the Kickstarter link for Vampires New Jersey. As soon as you click on that link, you go ahead and go to it. I need that shared directly to Facebook with my name attached as a tag on there because I will see it immediately, and then I will know who has won the prize.
There can be only one, as the old Highlander rule. The Kraglin.
Oh, there can be only one.
Great, another underrated 80s movie, which if you haven't seen these movies that I'm telling you about, you got to go see them. I mean, don't stop watching us. Wait till after we're done. Then go watch these movies.
We have a winner. We have a winner.
All right.
And I kind of figured that was who it was going to be. Eve. Eve won. Of course.
And, hey, Eve, I want you to send me a message after this is over. If you want me to sign it, normally I sign right here on the moon because it looks really cool. And if you don't want me to sign it, that's cool too. I mean, I won't get offended mostly. But, yeah, I'll sign it for you for free as well.
Absolutely. You know what? We're going to start doing this on my show where I'm just going to, feel the urge every once in a while, and I may go ahead and put you on a Demon Says mission. So spread the word around and let everybody know that is definitely coming. And hey, we did the first one with Jim. I think that's fair on that one. He was able to go ahead and give out a comic, and not only a comic, it's one that I don't even have.
Yeah, this was a very limited comic that I did for Halloween last year, and I have actually, I think this is my last cover A.
Let me go ahead and put this up here because I think Eve wants to make this point. Sign that shit.
Okay. You got it. Well, if I had a Sharpie on me right now, I would do it right now, honestly.
I think she's kind of on the fence. I don't think she she knows if she wants it or not. Maybe, kind of, sort of. I'm not sure.
It's definitely a fun cover. I'm really happy that Eve is getting this book.
Now, what we just did on there with the Demon Says, I will never do anything, of course, that's going to get anybody in trouble or anything, unless it is really good and we have a really good prize package for it. And I get it on video because just having it in chat is not good enough. I got to get it on video. Anyway, what I did there, though, is to actually kind of create awareness for various things that are going on. And, of course, right now I'm going to go ahead and pick Vampires because it is going to be launching on Wednesday evening for that. So there will be other ones that I'll be choosing, and I have got a huge list of them that I can go through. That is not an issue with that. So at any given time, I can go ahead and say Demon Says because guess what? I've got all kinds of stuff here as well. So we can definitely keep this going. Now, I will say that as far as Jim is concerned with the interview and everything we've been going through on here, I want to ask one last question on this portion of the show, and then we will get ready for the unscripted portion.
Oh, boy.
Again, just to go ahead and let you know with the unscripted, Jim and I have discussed this in great detail. Saturday night at 11 p.m. EST, we will be having unscripted on my show. What happens with unscripted? Glad you asked. So what happens is we'll be up there and we'll have, I won't say it's going to be an open link because I'm not going to have just anybody come in there. But if you're interested in it, let Jim know. We can shoot you the link. We can bring you on. And it's basically just going to be up there shooting the bull, having fun, talking comics. As long as it does not deal with my top main three, as long as there's no politics, no religion, and no BS. As long as you don't have any of that and the drama that follows with it, we're okay. So that's what we're going to start doing every Saturday, 11 p.m. EST. Until Jim can no longer do it, I will still keep it going. But I think Jim is probably going to try to at least do a showing in there, even though he's going to be going to work or whatever, to go ahead and come in there and at least show his face, come out and say he's been there.
Yeah, it's very fun. And like Phil said, the name says it all. It's unscripted. Anything could happen. Well, almost anything.
Yeah.
No, I'm not, we may be pantsless. You'll never know. And, another thing, to more incentivized to carry over to the YouTube. If you do come over to the YouTube tonight with us, I will be doing another Totally Rad giveaway, and you don't want to miss this one. This is a very special one, and I think you guys will really enjoy it.
All right. We're all over that. All right. So last thing I want to go ahead and say is, how do we go ahead and reach you? Give us those audibles one last time so that we can go ahead and go through that. Everything is going to be listed on here. If you need any more information, you can get a hold of me, you can get a hold of Jim, and we will give you any information you need. But Jim, go ahead and give us those audibles on that.
All right. I am on Facebook. You can find me at right here. Oh, there we go. Right there. Jim E. Noble on Facebook. You'll see me in my smiling mug with Larry Wells behind me. And you can add me, message me. Please don't add me if you're just trying to pad your Facebook numbers. I love making friends and making new friends. I don't consider them fans. I consider them friends. So please don't try to push your propaganda on me. I'm here for fun. I'm not here to like your Doctor Who page. You can find me on Facebook, Jimmy Noble. You can find me on Totally Rad Comics page on Facebook. You can also find my web store at Totally Rad Comics Big Cartel. And I will be sending that link out as well for those of you who are wanting to jump on that and get some fun covers. Now, I will tell you this. If you see this video tonight and you decide, hey, I'm going to go buy some Totally Rad comic books, and you go on my web store, message me first, and I will give you a Totally Rad discount as long as you mention this video. So there's that.
You cannot pass up a deal like that. So for right now, we're going to go ahead and call this one in the books. Jim, I have had an absolute blast having you on here. I hope everyone else has that's been here with this, and for everyone that will be watching this. If you are, I highly recommend don't be drinking or anything, have anything near your mouth, because you'll be spitting it all over the place as you laugh as you watch this. So, yeah, we're going to carry this over to YouTube and proceed to have a little more fun with this as well. So the link is right over here to the side. You'll look at where I put it on there, the Comics and More New Jersey, or you can go directly to YouTube in the search and type in the Comics and More New Jersey with the spaces in between, just like our name shows up on there, and you will be able to find us directly. I ask that whenever you do get over there, if you will, please go ahead and subscribe. That way you'll be able to watch all of the stuff that I've had so far and all of the stuff we got planned. So with that being said, Jim, I'm going to go ahead and let you go for right now. I will go ahead and shoot you the link for the StreamYard over there in just a moment. I'm going to close this out, and I'll meet you over there in a moment.
I'll see you guys soon.
All right. So we had Jim Noble up here. We had a blast with this. We talked pretty much over a lot of things, especially about clowns and sexy clowns and more clowns. And I think there was more clowns after that. So we had a blast with this. Now, I always have closing statements. Tonight's not going to be any different than that. So my closing statement is always completely and totally unscripted. And yeah, that's kind of where we came up with that name for the show on Saturdays. This one, I'm going to go ahead and base off the fact that if you get an idea, no matter how weird, wacky, off the wall, could never be published, anything like that, hey, Jim came out with Sexy Clowns from Outer Space, and it works. So as long as you put forth everything you've got into it and go ahead and put your all into it and show your passion in your work, hey, you got this made. So until next time, or hopefully I'll be seeing y'all on the YouTube network here very shortly. Keep it indie, y'all.